you know, just show a part of you through what you can, that's the strongest, and they understand that. And also another part of essays, a lot of colleges make you write about their college, like why you want to apply to the school, why, like what interested you about this school, because a lot of prestigious, like Cornell does this, and I wrote, you know, one of my essays about why I wanted to go to Cornell, and that's also important because you have to know why you want to go to this school. If you are genuine and you tell them things that you like about the school that, you know, you feel are compatible with you, they will notice this because they also get a lot, you know, Cornell gets, even a school like Cornell gets a lot of empty applications, you know, where their parents are just like, you know, apply to Cornell, apply to Cornell. And, you know, they don't put their hearts into it and they don't know anything about the school, they're just applying because, you know, dad told them to. But if they see that you actually like the school, they will take notice.
I want to address your question, what national competition I did, and I also, at the same time, want to comment on what Franklin said, that when you don't like something, you drop it and you move on and do whatever you want to do. And I took Tony and Yuri's route, right? I was on math counts, believe it or not, that day. And now I'm a shadow of my former self when it comes to math. I suck at it. But I realized around the 9th or 10th grade that I really didn't like math team. Again, I like my lunches. I really like food. I enjoyed my lunch. I didn't do math, and I stopped going to math competitions. What I found was that I enjoyed building bridges. And as a junior, you'll be, when you're in the junior year and senior year, you just have to take physics. And in physics class, the entire class as a whole builds bridges. And I found that I really liked it. And my partner and I moved on to the state level, and we won. We were second place in states. And for some reason, it skips the national level, so it goes straight on to internationals. So it's like, sweet, I get to put this on my college app, right? I get to participate in international bridge building contest. And I did, you know, I thought that was going to be like a cornerstone in my application. Turns out, not one of the colleges that admitted me talked about it. You know, they all said, we really liked your essay, Kyle. I was like, my essay? What did I write my essay, you know? And it wasn't even like the essay that I worked really hard on. It was the essay that was like kind of, it was like the paragraph, like for Stanford, it was the paragraph that asked, if you had some words to say to your roommate, what would they be? You know, write a short ditty, you know, for your roommate. And it was a paragraph long, and they said they really liked it, and that's why I got accepted to Stanford. And well, it's not just for Stanford. Like for many colleges, what they do is they sit you down. Like there's going to be like a committee of people who look at essays, and there's going to be like the head of the committee, and he's gonna filter all the essays, and then whatever essays he approves goes out to the second committee. And oftentimes, this is a rumor, you know, no one knows, it's a mystery, but apparently, for some colleges, what they do is that person reads through 100 essays. He reads through all of them nonstop, and then he puts them away, and then writes down which essays he remembers. And then whichever essays he remembers, he goes back and picks them out, and those essays go on. So that's very interesting, and even though it may not be 100% true, it gives you a little insight on what to do in an essay. Don't write about how you play violin and piano all the time, you know? So, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, can I just say something else about essays? You know, these guys wrote about their extracurricular activities for their essays, you know, math camp, right? And Camp Rising Sun. And what I wrote about was this old Japanese man that I met on a bus one day who told me the story of his life in 10 minutes. And, you know, that was the essay that I wrote. And I showed it to my counselor, and she said, you know what, Franklin, this is the essay that's going to win it for you. This is the essay that's going to do it for you. And so, but then I showed it to my dad, right? And he said, what the hell is this? You know, there's nothing in this essay. You know, so I guess what I want you to get from that is that 99% of parents have the ability to destroy an essay. You know, they have the ability to just completely void it and say, and just make it useless, because they're not the student. They see their child and they say, you know, we should use this essay to tell colleges, you know, about what I think is important about my child. You know, which is, you know, maybe math team, maybe orchestra, maybe, you know, essay writing or story writing. But it doesn't really tell the story of the child, and only the child can do that. So what I want to say right now to parents is back off. And, you know, let your child write that essay and let someone else take care of it, because, you know, essay writing is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be parenting. More questions? Come on.
I personally love interviews. I think they're lots of fun, actually. They give you a lot of insight about, you know, because usually it's an alumni who interviews you, someone who went to that school either, you know, 3 years ago or 15 years ago. I've gotten like a 2004 alumni, got a 1990 alumni, so it ranges from that. And it's just so nice to, you know, see them be so excited about you, and see them being so excited about their school, because that makes you, you know, that makes you realize that you are working towards something good. Like, it's not just, you know, eventually your large paycheck, you know. It's like, when you talk to these people, you realize that they loved their school, and there's many reasons for why they love their schools. If you want my advice on interviews, I would say, you know, prepare something, you know, be ready to talk about yourself, be ready, you know, I did this and I did that and I got this on this test. But also be prepared to be yourself. I know it sounds hokey, but like, the interviewers are people, and they know you are not just a list of extracurriculars, and they want to see who you are as a person. They want to see if you're awkward, they want to see if, you know, you're socially inept, if you're just rude, if you're obnoxious. I mean, there was one kid who graduated last year from Hunter. He didn't even show up for his interviews, or, you know, was late to his interviews and was just kind of terrible to his interviewers. And, you know, you have to treat these people with respect. And even something like that, you know, it comes through, and it's just one of the many parts of your application. Sometimes, you know, it's not that important. Personally, I don't think for them, for the people, for the admissions committee, but I think it's very important for the student who is getting interviewed.
Okay, so unlike Angela, I really hated the prospect of having to have an interview. So, because I don't really, you know, I'm not really good at talking to people. I'm not really good at being, you know, outspoken and friendly and social and all of that. But, I mean, I had 2 interviews. I enjoyed both of them, actually, because these are people who they don't see your application. They don't know your SAT score. They don't know your GPA. They don't know what you do. They might ask you to prepare a resume, but mostly just be prepared to go there and talk about what you do and what you love to do. And it's also, like, for me, the interview was also a really great place for me to show how interested I was in the school. Like, for my interview with MIT, I spent most of the interview actually talking about MIT rather than talking about what I did. And because I just, you know, I had lots of questions, and that's actually a very good thing to bring to interviews. Questions about the school. It shows your interest. It shows, you know, it's a good way to connect with your interviewer. And also, don't just, instead of just talking about, like, say, stuff like national competitions or something, talk about other things, stuff that you didn't get a chance to talk about in your application. Like, I really like skiing. I talked about skiing at my interview, even though I don't do it enough to be able to, you know, just like, I didn't write an essay on it, but it was my chance to mention it. So I think an interview is also a great opportunity for you to let them get to know you better.
Well, I mean, interview is a very scary thing for a lot of people. I mean, you're dressed up and everything, and you're not used to being dressed up, and you're going to meet a complete stranger basically and talk to them for like an hour. But don't let that like stiffen you, and don't go in and be like very awkward, and just be yourself. Basically, it's a conversation. They're not interrogating you. So don't go in like with memorized answers for certain things, because you sound just like a robot basically. And I mean, and they're more interested in knowing you as a person, and so don't just tell them what's already on your application. They don't really care about they don't really care if you won awards at like some competition. They care about the people you met there or what you thought of it and stuff like that. So don't try to impress them, because most of them are already very impressive people. And well, yeah, mine was a woman who graduated from college 30 years ago. I mean, she started her own business. It was amazing. She was an amazing person. And so basically, yeah, just talk to her. Know yourself very well. Know what you want to talk about, what you're like, so you can kind of steer the conversation. Yeah, so basically, this also plays with like doing what you want to do, because if you're just doing things that you have to do, you can't really talk about them. If you just did something like debate because it looked good, and you go to your interview and he or she asks you, oh, what'd you think about debate? You just sit there and stare, basically. I mean, it's not very good, because she'll immediately tell that you did it just for the application and not for yourself. So along those lines, yeah, do things that you want to do. I mean, know how to talk about them, and that's basically it. Go in, like, don't over prepare, because that's just bad for you. Yeah, like I said, you'll sound like a robot, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think something that a lot of people don't know about the interview is that there is no college that makes the interview a yes or no requirement. In other words, if you do well at this interview, then you'll get in, and if you don't, you won't. Mostly what it does is just gives the colleges a reassurance that you're truly interested in their college. And if you're the kind of student that they want, you'll get in, regardless of how you do at this interview. So the only advice that I have is to smile. And if you walk in with a smile, it's a successful interview. That's the bottom line.
I think the role of the interview is also for the interviewer to allay any fears the student may have about that college, or to clear up any misunderstandings. And for a lot of colleges, actually for my interview with Duke, the person told me, Kyle, you're the right fit for Duke. And I got into Duke, and so that was great. And yeah, I had my interview at the beginning of the year. I was like, hey Mom, my interview told me that I was going to get into Duke. And she was like, oh really? Kyle, stop fooling yourself. So I felt that was an important role the interview played. But again, it's not that big of a deal. It's not a make or break situation, as Franklin said. And in fact, I feel like some of the interviews were just bogus, because my Harvard interview, the lady graduated from Harvard undergrad and went to Harvard law school, as if that was supposed to impress me. And she, when I told her, she asked me, what do you like to do at school? I said, okay, this is what I like to do at school. And she said, what do you like to do at Harvard? I was like, I don't know. Okay, this is what I want to do at Harvard, blah, 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 because I did my research. And then she was like, oh, really? You can do that at Harvard? That school exists in Harvard? And like, dude, it's the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. That's like the main school at Harvard. And then she's like, oh, okay. So she didn't know anything about her own school after 10 years. I mean, how could she have written anything good about me, you know? I got rejected from Harvard, but I don't think it was because of her, it was because of me. And I also wanted to say something else about interviews, but I forgot. I'm sorry. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Don't be shy.
So could you tell me how many hours you guys sleep? I know him. How many hours he sleep already? How about the rest of you?
This whole entire school year, I slept 5 hours. But the good thing was, now when I actually get 8 hours, it feels like it's a lot. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
6 hours weekdays, 12 hours weekends. So that's where you catch up.
I'd say I get about 5 to 6 hours a night. Maybe, well, yeah, 12 hours between Saturday and Sunday.
Well, I was sleeping pretty normally until junior year, and during junior year I got I don't know, average of 4 to 5, maybe sometimes even less. And I mean now it's the end of senior year, there's basically no work, and for some reason I'm still in the habit. And yeah, I gotta get it fixed.
This is because the commute is so far from the home to the school, or because the project is too much?
I can't hear you. Can you say
Because of the commute?
Well, I think it's more because of the work. I mean, the workload gets, like Kyle said, it gets pretty nasty during junior year. And I mean, you're gonna have to get used to getting a lot less sleep. But I mean, once you pull through, it's great.
I used to take the cheese bus. That's the correct name. That's the right name for the school bus service. It's the cheese bus, and before, when I took it in the 7th grade, I took the Bay Terrace bus service. I don't know if you've heard of it, and it cost like $4,000 or something. It's ridiculous. It's like, I mean, I don't know, $4,000, you know? So after that, we realized how financially stupid it was, and I took the regular bus service. People only take that bus service if they live in like Little Neck or like Douglaston or whatever. It's really inconvenient to get to school. But now apparently the Bronx Science school bus comes around and picks 100 kids up too. Yeah, but it's still expensive. So take public transportation when you can, all the time.
Generally, the school bus, 7th and 8th graders usually take it. Definitely by the time you're in 9th grade, you know, the vast majority of your schoolmates will be taking the subway, you know, from Staten Island or from the West Side. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like me and you know, you get out of school at like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock p.m., you know, because of volleyball, then sorry, man, but the bus has already left. You know, you're gonna have to figure out a way to get home yourself. So really, you know, your question about the bus, it's not really an issue after, you know, you really get into some real activities. You know, it's just not an option anymore. So learn how to use the subway, learn how to use buses, grow up.
Is there any complaint or let us say shortcoming for school? Sounds like too good to be true.
Well, there are no windows, and the walls are kind of, I don't know. Some of them look like they're gonna collapse, but yeah, I mean, other than that, it's great.
Well,
So for the two social study book, it's like you have to speak with the information or you can just find it. They also submit the school.
Okay. So the question was about Washington seminar. and the Hunter United Nations Society. Yeah, both programs are competitive. You know, only, I think, well, for the United Nations program, I think it's for grades 10 and above, and only about 30 students get in from, you know, 10, 11, and 12th grade. What you have to do is you have to write an essay, a paper, a research paper on an issue that the United Nations is currently facing. And for Washington Seminar, it's even more exclusive. A lot of kids apply because it's really a great program, and you get to go to Washington, D.C. So, you know, only kids from grades 11 and above apply, and you have to write a lot. You have to write like 5 essays on current events, on you know, what's going on in Congress right now, what the president is doing right now, what the Supreme Court is doing right now. And you also have to have good grades. Yeah, and you also have to know the teachers in the social studies department kind of well so that they have a certain amount of respect for you. Let's get back to, what was the question? Oh, shortcomings of Hunter.
Yeah, so my only main problem with Hunter is the fact that you don't get to choose courses. You don't get to really choose courses until junior year. You get to choose between art and music in 10th grade, but that's not too much of a choice. And like basically, my problem with that was, you know, I'm a math and science person. I didn't want to have to take English and social studies for 5 years, but I mean, in the end, it was better for me that way. I mean, I learned how to write. I learned a lot of stuff that I, you know, those are good courses, and it's helped me become better, more well-rounded, even though, you know, there's not as much freedom of choice, but the courses that Hunter has set out for you are good courses.
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the things I love best about Hunter is that it's a small school, but of course, you know, there are bad things about going to a small school. But the bad things, I guess, are that, you know, you don't get to, yeah, I mean, socially, you know, it's a little less active than most other schools. But in terms of academics, really, you know, what do you need for academics? You know, what do you need to be able to study? You don't need Windows. Sorry, but you don't. You know, you have a room, you have a teacher, you have books, and you have people who truly want to learn, and you have teachers who truly want to teach you. What else do you need? You know, shortcomings. You know, it's not as pretty as Stuyvesant. Stuyvesant has a beach volleyball court, but you know, we have everything that we need, I guess.
I mean, the bureaucracy of the school is kind of annoying. There's a lot of red tape around Hunter sometimes, and you have to battle your way through that. Socially, you know these 200 kids from the beginning, and you're with them for 6 years. You know, you kind of get tired of them after a while, you know. You're kind of like, you know, what am I doing here? Like, I'm so bored of this place. But, you know, generally, the shortcomings in the end don't even matter. Like, that's the truth. It doesn't even matter. Not at all.
Okay, I think when Tony mentioned the fact that the school has no windows, first of all, that's not true because there are like 2 windows. So, like, in the stairwells there are windows, and in the corner music rooms there are slits. There's slits, so it kind of counts. And but what he was getting at was the fact that the school, the layout of the school is disappointing. But that's understandable because the school used to be an armory, and the school's like 500 years old, and you know, it was built, you know, manliness and like defending New York against Indians, you know. So it's now a school, so tough, you know. But one big complaint I have is the fact that the ventilation system really sucks. So every time winter rolls around, all the windows get shut. And this is how disease gets spread, you know, all around school, you know, dust and, like, you know, SARS all throughout the school. It's really bad. But I guess you build up an immunity to it, you know, when you're older. But if you're, I mean, take, you know, you can buy Airborne, you know, in the supermarkets. So I mean, you do what you have to do, again. No, I'm kidding. What Franklin said about that comment was absolutely right. And another complaint I have, it had to do with something that you guys said. What did you guys say? Right now. Socially stifling, right? If you're a girl, there are usually very few hot guys. And if you're a guy, there are usually very few hot girls. And this is why I know people who have gone to Bronx Science, who have gone to STI, because they thought the girl situation was so bad at Hunter. And at the time, I was like, you're stupid. What are you doing with your life? But they've moved on with their life. I have lost all communication with them. I don't know what they're doing now, but for just for the sake of argument, they're going to bad places. Okay? And my mom always asks me, "CAPA, 为什么你的朋友都是中国人？为什么没有白人？为什么白人？为什么没有白人朋友嘛？" And then so that's a big problem because people form cliques. Sorry, cliques. And so if you don't know what a clique is, it's when like a bunch of people get together because usually it's because they're all Chinese or they're all Korean or they're all black, or you know, there could be like a pretty girl clique or something like that. And at Hunter there are cliques, but and most of my yeah, there are cliques at every school, but it's particularly bad at Hunter because the school population is so small. So but just defend why cliques result. Many people say it's because you're all Chinese and because it's easier to form friends if you already have a common race and you get to speak Chinese with each other. We don't speak Chinese with each other. We all speak English. But sorry. But it happens a lot of times because a lot of you guys are from Flushing. A lot of people from Flushing take the 7 train. When you spend that much time on the 7 train, you make friends, all right? And that's what happens. So it's just how demographics and how things play out. And that's why cliques occur. There are a lot of, there's a whole clique of white people, but they're the people who have been going to the elementary school for 6 years. Of course they're gonna hang out together. So that's my defense for the clique. All right.
Last question. We have last question.
So what kind of suggestion you guys have for us? You see, you're leaving now, all right? So any kind of suggestion you can give us to let us have a better life in Hunter? I mean suggestion to the Hunter authority or suggestion for us, you know, to how to improve Hunter. 你背后可能是。
I'll just shout.
It's working.
Okay. Be involved in Hunter on all levels. I'm completely serious about this. You know, yeah, Franklin's right. Go to some parties. Hunter has some crazy kids, and we're all kind of just really fun. You know, like go to Brick, go to musical repertoire, go to HTE. Those, I mean, it's amazing. You see, you know, your friends on stage performing, and you know, you pay $3 on Thursday to see it, $5 on Saturday night to see it. It's, you know, you take some time to enjoy yourself and to hang out with your friends, and you know, extracurriculars, college, blah. But you know, to be involved in Hunter, especially when you're a junior. I mean, juniors. I mean, you know, there's Spirit Day, there's Carnival. You know, running out in yellow shirts. You know, shouting quack. Like, I mean, it sounds so weird to everyone else, but everybody, like, that's the thing about Hunter, like, it's a community, everybody knows what's going on, you know, we have these weird little things that only we understand, and, you know, immerse yourself in that, and you'll be well rewarded.
yeah, one suggestion I have that I really recommend to everyone in this room is read the newspaper. Read as much as you can. Read the newspaper, read magazines, educate yourself even when you're not in school. Because I think a big part of what helped me decide what I'm going to do with my life is that I read the paper, and the school, gets free copies of the New York Times. So, I mean, that's a great publication, but there's also stuff like Time, Newsweek, The Economist, great magazines that you should read that can really help you decide, what truly interests you. What part of this world are you going to be a part of when you're 18 and over?
Yeah, like Angela said, immerse yourself, get involved, especially in the younger grades. Try not to think about college. Like, acknowledge that it exists and you'll eventually apply, but don't let it be a criteria for deciding what you want to do.
Especially if you're young, don't be intimidated by, older kids. 06 is gone. They were particularly scary. But, if you join a club and, they'll probably think you're cute. They'll probably think, this is, they're nice, oh, they're seventh graders. But they will take you seriously, If you have something to say and, they think it's legitimate, they will take you seriously.
I highly recommend all you 7th and 8th graders to join a sports team because it's very important to keep fit and be active and don't get fat because when you're fat, the fat molecules in your blood clog up with you and then you get an aneurysm. So it's really important to do a sports team because you burn calories, and it takes away so much of your time that you have to learn how to do time management. Alright? And I feel like if I hadn't joined the track team, I'm sure Franklin hadn't joined the volleyball team, right, he would be one lazy son of a gun. And, okay.
No, yeah, I definitely recommend sports too. One thing that a lot of kids enter Hunter without is the determination to win. The determination to be number one. I mean, yeah, sure, they were number one at their elementary school, but that was because, they studied a lot, and, when it came to tests, there's no real, elbowing, there's no real punching or anything that, that you have to do for tests. You just sit down and you just, put what you know onto a piece of paper. But when it comes to sports, you really develop that determination to succeed. And I think that's one of the most important things that you can enter college with and also enter life with. I'm captain of the varsity volleyball team, if you don't remember. If you have any question about volleyball, it's one of the best programs at Hunter.